What went into the decision to shake up the forward group today?
Well, I think Reinhardt has played well in the fourth line role, had some good looks, been physical, drawn penalties. So that was the decision there. And then with Holtz, he's been working hard, waiting his turn. And I figured, well, we'll do both at once. It's 3 games in 4 days. See if it gives us a little spark in that area of the lineup.
Is it a message to Brandon and Riley in terms of their play, or is it more so just kind of get a jolt in the group?
Well, there's always a little bit of, I don't think I heard what you said the second. It's performance related at times, and it's also these other 2 guys that have, I think Reinhardt, you could make an argument, didn't deserve to come out of the lineup, especially in the role he's playing. Sauter and Smitty haven't really played that role, but if they're going to stay in, one of them goes down there, because Howie's a fit there, but then we have a hole at center. Howie has to play center, so that's a little bit of circumstance. So I'd say it's a bit of both. The message to them, they've played well at times, okay at times. So we're going to give the other 2 guys a shot. We know that they're veteran guys that came here because they want another shot at Stanley Cup, so we're not taking that away from them. It's 1 game in November where we feel like maybe we'll get a little juice from some of these younger legs.
Notice there was a lengthy conversation with the leadership group this morning. Is there anything you can elaborate on that?
No, that's just something that we had a meeting this morning that I was just finishing up on. I had to talk to Riley and Brandon, so I missed my chance with those 3 guys, so I was just catching up.
Pavel's kind of cooled off, especially at 5-on-5 a little bit. Is there anything you're noticing that's missing from his game at 5-on-5?
Well, he hit the crossbar against Ullmark. He hit the crossbar against Vejmelka. He's had his looks. They just haven't gone in. So a little bit of tough puck luck. I think he's not the only one that's had some tough puck luck. So I'd say that's a start. If those go in, we're probably not having this conversation. I still think he's had chances to score. I think he's around the puck. He just needs one to go in. Sometimes those guys get streaky, and he's on the wrong side of the streak right now. So I'd tell him to keep, implore him, keep going to the net, keep shooting pucks. That's what you do best, and that's it for him. That'll be the end of the conversation.
When you juggle the lines, he's one that kind of bounces back and forth. Is it, obviously you can't pick every time because you have injuries and other things going on, but is there a side you prefer him on?
No, I think he handles the right well. I think because of his release, he's the one guy that really benefits offensively. And it's not even a one-timer. He's able to step into the middle of the ice from his offside. That's what his inside cut is good, and then he's snapping it, square to the goalie. I think that's what happened against Ullmark. The one he missed in Utah was a good play by Huddy. It was just an ozone cycle that he was in the right place in the slot. He had a couple coming off the dot the other day, so I like him on the right. Do I think he's better on one side or the other? I don't have anything to prove that he is or isn't. So that's why he goes back and forth, because he's done it, and I think he's comfortable with it.
Shooting percentage, team shooting percentage is under 10 and near the bottom of the league. Is that a blip, or is that part of why your offense of numbers have dropped a little bit?
Well, it could be both. It certainly factors into why your offense has dropped, because you're not finishing as many chances. So is it a blip? Well, the start of the year, I'm going to guess it was a high number when we were scoring 6 against Boston, 6 against Calgary, and we won some games scoring 4. So I would think over time it'll correct itself. That it should. We have plenty of goal scorers in there. It'll be a concern if it goes on for another month, let's say. But right now, I would say we're in one of those runs where it's post and out, crossbar and out, instead of in. Saw it with Barbie in overtime, and these are good shots. They're beating the goalie clean, just not going in the net. I think we had some off-net issues earlier, maybe on that road trip in Florida, or right after that when maybe the offense dried up. Colorado at home, I remember reading something that we were off net a little more than usual, but that was for a short time. And I don't know, if you hit the post, is it off net? I mean, it is technically, but it's usually a good shot if you beat the goalie clean. So some of those you just got to play through. I don't think we're getting on the power play as much as we have. For whatever reason, it sure seems like we've drawn some calls that could have been penalties that we haven't got. So we have to stick with that part of it too and make sure that usually evens itself around up too. In some of these closer games, they could have made the difference. So we got to make sure we continue to attack, go to the net, so that you get those calls to go your way.
Sissons was asked yesterday about like defensively, you're playing quite well, doing a lot of things, really limiting shots. Was that creeping into affecting your offense? And he kind of discounted it and said, no, it's about us getting seconds and thirds, and we're not doing that right now.
Is that his line or the team, or what do you mean, or him personally? The team? I think we're always trying to build the rebounds, deflection part of our game in tight. I think we've talked about that as a point of emphasis in training camp. The numbers we look at for generation of that has been better than the first 10, like the second 10 games. Is it always going to result in goals? Well, it should eventually if you keep doing it. So that's the message. Keep doing it, even though maybe you're not seeing the rewards now. I think our defensive play fuels our offensive play, to be quite honest, if we're doing it well. Our D-zone coverage has always been a big part of our transition game if we're doing it right. Being in good spots to get pucks back, to get going. So that part, that's our identity, Gary. We don't want to get away from it because our numbers are good. They're top of the league, and pretty much we revisited it this morning because now when you're losing some close games, it's like we have to make sure we don't lose that piece to try to gain another, rob from Peter to pay Paul, or whatever that saying is. We have to keep that identity. And I do believe our offensive numbers, if you look throughout the actual generation, are pretty good, but the finish isn't. So that, to me, I've always said, it's like a player. If you're getting your chances and not scoring, that's okay. If you're not getting your chances, okay, we got a problem. We got to fix that.
You just talked about it a little bit, but what's the message when you have all these looks, but you're hitting the crossbar, or you're off net just a little bit? What's the message to keep frustration from creeping in?
Well, kind of what I just said. I mean, you don't want to get married to analytics and say, oh, well, we're winning that battle because the game's played on the ice. But you do have to look at the game after with the eye test, with what the actual result. And okay, so let's dig a little deeper in the numbers. The numbers have been pretty good. So the message is the numbers have been pretty good. Let's stick with it and bear down. I guess you'd say you got to bear down on those and make sure you don't give away a chance that might be a good one and not be ready to shoot the thing through the friggin' net if you have to, right? So there's a little bit of that. And the mindset is when those things don't go well, sometimes you need a lucky one. And we got one against Ottawa, right? We were playing pretty well, and Stoney's goes in off their foot. But where was he? He was around the front of the net. We put the play into the bumper, the one we want. We recovered a rebound. We tried to make a play, I think, to Pav. But because we were around there, we had the opportunity to get lucky, I guess. So that's the message. Like, stay inside and get a lucky one or two, and sometimes that's what gets you going. Don't turn down shots because, we're due for one to go through some legs and off a leg and go in. So that's what we're trying to preach. We're a team that likes to look for the extra play. So, that even when they're going in, we have to talk about that. So that's the message, and we can't get away from it. A lot of hockey left here, and this is not the home stand we've wanted in November. We've played some good road games to make up for some of that, and we're playing through a little bit of adversity, so it should make us stronger down the road. It should. So stick with it. You got to try to find the positives in things, and right now, that's the message. And we're not that far off. We're a player or two each game. Even the Montreal game, we had a really good start. If we score on that power play, bury one, might be a different animal. They come down and get one. That's when you got to. That's when tonight, if that happens, we got to make sure. Hey, it's 1-0. We got to firm ourselves up here and make sure we're the better team till the next goal is scored. And so that's a little bit of the messaging too, what's going on now.
Bruce, you're in the stretch of playing some of the younger teams in the league, Utah, Montreal, San Jose, Chicago next. Is it a different challenge when you're playing these young teams that are trying to break through and maybe get back into the playoffs or sustain themselves in the NHL?
Well, every game's a challenge. I mean, you can see around the league, there's no easy games for anybody. There's close games every night. Teams are beaten, anybody can beat anybody. So I think our guys recognize that. you know, how close everybody is. The different challenge is they may be looking at us as sometimes those teams will look at Colorado, Florida, Tampa, us because we were the last 4 cup winners and use us as measuring sticks. So what I like, that's a good thing. That means we're good. Or, you know, our teams think we're good, so we should embrace that part of it, that, hey, we're going to get, you know, teams are looking at us and that's who they want to become down the road. And, you know, I'm not saying every team, but that could be part of the, I heard Ottawa say it after, well, this is a cup contender. We got to be ready to play. Utah, you know, so that's a compliment to the guys in the room that have built that identity and that reputation. So they should embrace it. That's the way I look at it. Now, style of play is different. I mean, you got, you know, that it's a little more open, usually sometimes with those teams. I'm using Anaheim and Utah, for example, and San Jose could get that way. Ottawa wasn't. They're playing a tight game. So, but, you know, Ghost, that's, every night, you know, that an opponent plays a little bit different. It shouldn't affect how you play, to be quite honest. We should be thinking about how we want to play, what we do to be successful night in, night out, and adjust and maybe adapt a little to what they're doing. But, you know, it should, our focus should be on the Vegas Golden Knights, okay? And we will point out tendencies and players in their team. And I'm not being disrespectful, but we got to worry about our own game. And when that's buttoned up, I like our chances against everybody.
You mentioned a little bit last night, but I just want to follow up with this kind of falling behind in games. Could you just speak to, it's got to be draining, the energy you have to use to try to climb back in. Do you address that? I'm sure they're aware of it, but at some point is, I guess, enough when you look at that area of your game?
Well, that was a little bit of the conversation this morning on the ice, which is like a question I got asked earlier. You have to stay with, you know, like whatever happens, we have to get over that hump in a hurry and get back to our game. Whether they score a great goal, a bad goal, a lucky goal, I don't know, whatever. Like it's not always going to go your way, and it hasn't for us. We've been chasing it. So the simple solution is let's not chase it and let's get out and play well in the first periods. Well, we've done that pretty well. We did it in Utah. We went up there. We did it in Anaheim the next night. Had a 2-0 lead. Unfortunately, it got away from us. Montreal, I look at the Ottawa game, we're down 3-1. I didn't hate our first period. Montreal, the other night, I thought we were the better team the first 10 minutes. So we're addressing some of those things to be on time to try to get the lead. It just hasn't materialized for us as much as we'd like. So again, tonight, I hope the guys buy into that. Hey, let's be the better team early on so we're not chasing it, because it can be draining when you're doing it night after night. And it's not a path to success in the National Hockey League to chase the game every night. You know, it's too hard to win, and teams, you know how to win. You know, every once in a while you can do that, but you've got to be careful. That's, to me, is not the formula you want to be, you know, subscribing to every night. And I give our guys credit. I think they've started a lot better the last 6-7 games than they did earlier. We got to finish a little better earlier, and that, you know, so the other teams go through the process that we've been going through.
How do you focus and then follow through on good starts? What's the secret there?
I mean, it's just a mentality thing. You just have to make a decision to be ready to go when that puck drops. You know, well, I think our starts have been a lot better as of late. Obviously, we've still found our way to go down in games, unfortunately, with some untimely goals against. But I think whoever's really got the nod to start the game has done a pretty good job.
Is it hard to draw a parallel between the result and then how you're playing? Because they've been two different things.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's frustrating when you feel like you're controlling a lot of games and kind of dominating teams at 5-on-5 at times, and just a little bit snake bitten on the offense. And we've got to continue to do the job defensively. We're pretty solid back there, and last game I think we got a little bit loose at times and gave up some breakaways and some grade A+ chances, which we got to smarten up with that. But otherwise, I think we're doing a lot of good things. We just got to will a puck or two in the net.
You guys look at the standings, so are you aware of how tight things are bunched up in the Pacific Division?
Yeah. No, we've got it up on the wall at T-Mobile there in our lounge, so we're very aware how tight it is.
So that adds extra emphasis to tonight.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's a team in a division. You got to win those games. They're huge, no matter what. And they're playing some good hockey this year, the Sharks. So yeah, we know that they're a much better team than they have been in past years, and a couple guys we got to key in on.